Welcome to the 34th lecture of this series. Today we are going to do the environment section again. One or two topics from the month of March and other topics from the month of April. Our first topic is something Delhi people know very well who are studying in Delhi for UPSC examination. Comes in news a lot of times. First topic is Sukhna Lake. What has happened that you have, in Chandigarh you have Punjab and Haryana High Court together. That High Court has declared that from now onwards Sukhna Lake will be recognized legally only, okay, not naturally. Legally, it will be recognized as living entity or legal person. It has happened before in Uttarakhand also for the rivers. So, what does it mean? It means that when you declare some natural, a lake or forest or river as the legal person, living entity, that means that it will have its own rights. It will have its fundamental duties, not your duties, the river's duty that it has to fulfill the ecosystem demand. It has the rights also. The pristine nature of the river or lake should be preserved. Ecosystem should be preserved. Minimum natural eco flow should be maintained. And it has liability of a living person. Okay. So when you declare some natural stream or lake or forest or river as living entity or legal person, it must have some parents also. So it's very logical. All the citizens of Chandigarh, because this lake is situated in Chandigarh only. Lake is situated in Chandigarh only. The area is 3 km square. All the citizens of Chandigarh will act as, this is a Latin term, in your legal term, loco parentis. That means in the place of a parent, the citizens will have to preserve this lake. Citizens will have to save the lake from any extinction in the future. If you want to have some introduction about the Sukhna Lake, it is man-made. Why? See, a stream was coming. This Chandigarh is situated in the Shivalik foothills. So when a stream was coming from the Shivalik foothills, that a stream was Sukhna Cho. Sukhna Cho was causing some areas to be like siltation and everything, and it was not preserved also. So when Chandigarh was being designed, Chandigarh was designed by Le Corbusier, the architect. He was designing the city at that time. He decided that we can make a dam and conserve the water of Sukhna Lake so that it will not cause the siltation and the lake will be preserved, the stream will be preserved. For that, he made this Sukhna Lake reservoir in 1958. He is the architect of Chandigarh also. See, it was designed to collect run-off water from the hills. Which hills? Himalayan foothills, Shivalik foothills. It also had a nearby Sukhna Wildlife Sanctuary. And that sanctuary is home to sambar, pangolin and wild boars, and many ducks are also present in the lake. What happens that when you declare these kind of entities as legal entities, lake will have same legal rights as a person in the eyes of the law. That means if you pollute the lake, that will be like harming a human being. That is how we conserve nature, by declaring them as legal entities, living person. And when citizens are declared as loco parentis, so any harm is caused to the lake, that citizen or loco parentis will be able to go in the court and raise his or her voice that, see, my child's health is being degraded, my lake's pollution is being done, it is not being conserved, that might lead to extinction, so please protect it. And it becomes a legal responsibility of that loco parentis also, that he is now decided that he will be helping to conserve the water because he is the guardian to protect the nature, the natural lake. Actually, it is artificial lake. One more thing, in UPSC examination 2 years back, one question came that which of the following lakes was man-made or artificially made. There were difficult options. One of them was Kodai Canal. So many people marked another answers. But if you focus in the Kodai Canal, the canal word has come from the canal only. So Kodai Canal lake was artificially created. It was man-made lake. That was the right option. I just wanted to tell you. So if someone is polluting this lake or damaging this lake, then some fine will be charged. That fine will be collected and that will be used for the restoration of the lake directly, instead of those aggrieved from the damage. No, not those people. Directly this lake, because the lake is the living person now. When you declare this lake as living person, also when a contract is signed, for example, any hydroelectric project comes, canal comes, dam comes, Someone will be representing this lake and saying that this contract is right or wrong for the lake's ecosystem and lake's conservation. Here is your Punjab, right? Here is your Haryana. On the border between them we have Chandigarh here, and in that area we have the Lake Sukna. Here is the Sukna Wildlife Sanctuary. See, Lake Sukna is here, Haryana's border, Punjab's border, and here we have this Sukna Lake in Chandigarh, and besides we have Sukna Wildlife Sanctuary. And you see the real estate work here. This is coming in eco-sensitive zone. It should have been more, but it is not being focused. The real estate work is going on the eco-sensitive zone. So that is the damage caused to the lake. So for that conservation, we declared it as natural entity, legal entity by the Punjab and Haryana High Court. Our second topic is United Nations World Water Development Report. See, this report was released on World Water Day. World Water Day is celebrated every year on March 22. United Nations World Water Development Report was released on ahead of, that means just before that, but the occasion is only March 22nd, that is World Water Day. And what is this report and which organization releases this report? I will tell you, then we will go in the news. First of all, we need to learn World Water Day only, because this World Water Day was very So World Water Day is an annual celebration. United Nations observes this day on 22nd March every year, and importance highlighted is of fresh water. Remember that only fresh water is the main focus of this World Water Day. This is to achieve and encourage the efforts towards the achievement of Sustainable Development Goal 6, which is related to water conservation. And on the same day every year, your United Nations World Water Development Report comes. This year, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the theme of the World Water Day was very important. Theme was water and climate change, fine. But the message to be spread by this campaign was hand washing and hygiene, because it came during the COVID-19 situation. 2019 theme was leaving no one behind. That's fine. Now this report, World Water Development Report, is released by UN Water. We need to know about that body also, United Nations Water. What is that? It was formed in 2003. This is the logo and everything. Headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland. This is an interagency mechanism. Okay, it is a coordination mechanism. UN Water is interagency mechanism. Efforts of all your United Nations entities and some international organizations, all efforts are collaborated, and together they work for water and sanitation issues. So you just learned that World Water Day is celebrated by United Nations, and that is because of UN Water only. But your World Toilet Day is also coordinated, and I mean this campaign World Toilet Day also is coming by this UN Water only. So you should remember that also, that World Toilet Day and World Water Day, both of these campaigns are managed by UN Water. World Toilet Day by United Nations is celebrated on every year in the month of November on date 19th November. So let us study about the World Water Development Report. It is an annual and thematic report. One theme comes in this report, and that focuses on different strategies for water issues every year. Fine. It aims to provide decision makers. It will come with the report, and decision makers will use this report. They will get some insights, and this agency, World Water, UN Water, will suggest the decision makers that what are the tools you can implement for the sustainable use of your water resources, fresh water resources in the world. And the development of this World Water Development Report is created by, I just told you about the UN Water, but I told you also that in UN Water there are so many organizations of the United Nations. So this is coordinated by World Water Assessment Program. The whole organizations, that almost 30 organizations of the United Nations work together, and they have created a program, World Water Assessment Program, and World Water Assessment Program creates this World Water Development Report, finally released by UN Water. The report thus is a joint effort of UN agencies and entities which make up UN Water. There are some other organizations also, international organizations, and there are UN agencies also, almost 30 of them. This report was released at the 8th World Water Forum in Brasilia, hosted by Brazil. Brazil hosted the 8th World Water Forum, and where was it? This report was released. Report says that if you talk about water, it says that the global demand of water has increased. Not one-fold, not two-fold, six-fold over the past 100 years. And every year there is increase of 1% in the demand of water. The main focus is that in developing country the demand of water is faster, because developing country population is increasing much more. Also the developing country need resources for the development, so water consumption is more in developing countries and increasing more in developing countries. Historically maybe the developed country have used more water, but now the developing countries, whether you talk about the pollution, whether you talk about the water uses, everywhere now developing countries have seen the more rise in the percentage and increment every year. So what will happen then if demand is more and the supply is less? It says that by 2050, mid of your century, 5 billion people will be suffering from water shortage. Situation will be aggravated by climatic change, increased demand and polluted water supplies. If you for example in Delhi you are getting the water, but sometimes the water in the Yamuna is polluted from the sewage and industries effluents. So polluted water is not the fresh water, that is not the solution. So all these things will create situation more aggravated, climatic change, increased demand and polluted water supplies. And how the climate change will work? It will put a stress on your supplies, on your glaciers, because it will make wet regions wetter and dry regions drier. How? Your glaciers will melt, that will make them wetter. For some time it will happen like your rivers will have more flow. Later the rivers will dry out because the glacier is melted. If the climate change happens, the greatest single threat, it report says that the greatest single threat will be your drought condition. Drought condition like seen in Maharashtra. Drought and soil degradation, the biggest risk of natural disasters, are likely to worsen in this century because of water shortage and more demand of water. Let's talk about then water quality also. Pollution has worsened the water bodies. If you see the Bangalore lakes, they are seeing the froth because of human use of detergents and everything. Polluted waters, and it looks like snowfall. And water is expected to deteriorate further in the coming 2 decades. And also your agricultural runoff. You are using lots of fertilizer, urea in your country, indiscriminately the nitrogenous fertilizers. Once they reach in the water bodies, algae growth becomes very high. Now algae is growing a lot, it will cover the lake, right? It will cover the freshwater lake and rivers. When it is covered, algal bloom will happen. When will algal bloom will happen? Once the toxic substances might be released. Other thing is that your fishes and everything organism will die, because biological oxygen demand will increase. More algae growth or algal bloom means that more consumption of oxygen also during the photosynthesis. Oxygen depleted lake will not support any living organisms. So this will lead to drying of the lakes. Organisms will die. Lake will be polluted. There are other agrochemicals like pesticides also going in the water. Many people are saying that, even I got a call from my home. My parents saw some report in the newspaper or maybe some electronic media. They said that even if you are buying vegetables in Delhi, be careful, because we heard that Delhi vegetables are coming from those areas where the soil is already polluted with the pesticides. Soil is already polluted with the effluents from your industries, because the water is polluted in the Yamuna Valley. They load freshwater supplies with nutrients that lead to growth of pathogens and choking algal blooms. I already explained you. Then the report focused on threat. What is threat? It says that water scarcity can lead to civil unrest. People will fight for the water. Vajpayee already told you, right? The next world war will not be for petroleum or gold. The next world war will be for the water. And we have seen that in South Africa, there during the cricket match and everything, there were huge shortage of water. Mass migration can happen because drought will happen. Many people even migrated from Latur like areas in Maharashtra to other places. And even it can lead to civil conflict. It can lead to conflict between countries. That is why India sometimes says that we will move out of the Indus Water Treaty so that the Pakistan will be devoid of water. Let's take the revenge of your terrorism by dividing your country with water. Now the China says that okay fine, we will build dams on your Brahmaputra and then we will divide you of water. So all these are problems. Even in Mekong River, China is doing something dam building that is going to hamper the countries of Southeast Asia. Sometimes it will become flood, sometimes it will become drought. The report thus warns of conflict and civilizational threats unless actions are taken. So very important thing is highlighted by this report. Next topic comes from April month 2020. Topic is anti-smog guns. What is that? First of all, what is the news? Anti-smog guns installed at 14 large project sites in Delhi. Large project site, what does that mean? The sites where pollution was more. The project sites where the construction was going on, the dust was more in the air. For that we got anti-smog guns. And recently your Supreme Court has said that on January 13, Supreme Court said that the anti-smog guns, smog guns looks a very good option. And it said that it should be okay. Government will take the action. Supreme Court has only suggested these anti-smog guns should be mandatory in projects that require environmental clearance from the center or a state. Any project which needs environmental clearance, whether it is from center or a state, in that project there should be one mandatory thing, that should be anti-smog guns, because lots of pollution, lots of dust is created, and that will harm the health of the people living nearby the project. So that's why have a built up area of over 20,000 square meters. That is the area in which the project is going on. That must have 20,000 square meters for that anti-smog guns. As per this, 47 large projects in Delhi had to have these guns installed, and 14 large projects have already installed it. What is it? First of all, see how does it look like. It just looks like a water sphere, but this water is atomized, nebulized, goes in a large area and goes with a large force and very long. Its range is also very high. See, it sprays. It is a device which sprays nebulized water droplets, very small water droplets into the atmosphere. These water droplets will interact with the smog, and it will settle down the smog from the air to the ground level. That will reduce air pollution. Connected to a water tank and mounted on a vehicle, as you have seen in the picture, device could be taken across the city, and it will go to different places, spray water to settle dust. In fact, during your Delhi smog problem in the winters last year, it was used at some places. That is why Supreme Court is suggesting that now you can use at the construction site, the project sites also. It settles down the dust and other suspended particles in the air. What is the range? I said that the range is very high. The range is 50 meters, and the results were positive wherever it was used. It just acts like rain. And settles down dust particles, and also PM 2.5 is also settled down. That is a big achievement. The problem in Delhi is that you needed these guns because in October last year we had seen that air quality was dipping to the severe category in few times. Air pollution and the resulting smog is an outcome of three inputs in Delhi. One is your local emission of pollutants, emission from transport, and other is from meteorological factors like wind speed and temperature. Emission from other states includes your agricultural waste burning, also the crop residue burning. But the problem is that fragmented policies and toothless environment bodies will not work. Center and states have to together work for this. That means working with the Haryana government, working with the Punjab government, Delhi government, and also your western UP and northern Rajasthan also. What is a smog? The word is created from a smoke and fog. Fog-like situation. This situation, you have been seeing this in Delhi every year. Smog is a type of intense air pollution. This word was coined in the 20th century only, and it is a contraction of your word smoke and fog together. That means a smoky fog-like situation. It has opacity, it has odor also, because the pollutants sometimes are having the odor or a smell. Generally, your smog is composed of nitrogen oxides, sulfur oxides, ozone. So these are pollutants. You will remember this for MCQ. What are the pollutants in your atmosphere lower level? Ozone is of two types, good ozone and bad ozone. And the bad ozone is in the upper layer, so that you can be protected from ultraviolet B radiation. Sorry, that is good ozone. And the bad ozone in the lower atmosphere, that is a pollutant. Ozone should be in the upper atmosphere only. So nitrogen oxide, sulfur oxides, ozone, smoke, and other particulates. What is that? PM10, PM 2.5, crop residue, and everything. These are pollutants suspended in air, which are known as a smog or a smoky fog. Your man-made smog generally derived from what are the sources? Coal combustion, first of all, from the industries, vehicular emission, particularly the diesel engines, industrial emissions, forest and agricultural fires. The forest fires can be natural or artificial if some person created the fire, but generally forest fire is natural only. And whenever a forest burns, it creates huge amount of smog. You have seen the example from Australia, you have seen example from Brazil. photochemical reactions of these emissions also happen. That means in the presence of light, these chemicals change, and that changes also lead to toxic substance release. So this is about smog. Also, smog in one category is categorized as either a summer smog or winter smog. Summer smog is a special thing. It is primarily associated with photochemical formation of ozone. And winter smog you have already seen in Delhi. That's all about this lecture, a small lecture today only. Thank you. See you tomorrow.